is related to being raised, males anyway, being raised in single-parent homes, and it doesn't make any difference if you're white or black. The reason there's so much more black crime is so many more black males are raised without their daddies because the federal government has paid women to stay unmarried, has taken over the role of supporter of black families and relieved men of their responsibility to take care of their own children. And if you look at the white crime rates and you see who commits them, the young white males who commit crimes, they have been raised by and large in single-parent homes. So the key variable is single-parent homes, whether you're white or black. But of course, the Democratic policies are aimed at increasing dependency, because that way you increase power at the center. So we have a party which is racist to the core, the Democrats, and let's face it, some of them think they're doing good. Some of the Democrats think they're doing good, but I'm telling you, the people running the show idea-wise know exactly what they're doing. They intend to collapse the country if they can. And if you don't believe me, I want you to look up a pair of sociologists called Cloward, C-L-O-W-A-R-T, and Piven, their husband and wife, P-I-V-I-N, Cloward and Piven. In 1996, they put out what needs to be done to collapse America and to then recreate it on utopian grounds. So they said what has to be done. Saul Alinsky gives us the strategy, and Saul Alinsky's strategy is any means to noble ends, and the noble ends for Saul Alinsky, power. Therefore, lies don't matter. Sacrificing people's lives don't matter. All in the name of getting power. The one good thing about this, if there is a silver lining, is that the left is always eats its own, because they can never create the utopia. It always falls short. And they always fall short because there are evil people. There are people not following through. And whether you were Lenin, whether you were Danton and Robespierre, or you're Hitler, he was a progressive. Of course he was a progressive. Don't tell me he wasn't progressive. He was praised as a progressive when he first came to power. Mussolini. Yes, because they were corporatists. No, not socialists. Corporatism. Corporatism is the alliance, is centralizing all economic power in the central government in a cooperative effort by big corporations, big economic units, big unions, and big government. When Theodore Roosevelt, I just get really a little annoyed at some of my friends who, Theodore Roosevelt, the trust buster. Well, no. Theodore Roosevelt, yes, he went after Rockefeller because he wanted to show Rockefeller who was boss. Theodore Roosevelt or Rockefeller, and he showed him who was boss. Theodore Roosevelt, of course, Rockefeller made it like a bandit, but financially by having the Standard Oil broken up. Oh, you say, what? Broke up the monopoly, and he made out like a bandit economically? Yes, because he got shares in all the companies that succeeded Standard Oil, and that was worth more than Standard Oil alone. But when he ran as a bull moose, he ran explicitly as a corporatist candidate. He could have been economically spouting the same stuff Mussolini spouted. So economically, corporatists. They're corporatists. They're not socialists. They're corporatists. They don't want to nationalize the governments. They just want to control it all from the center in cooperation with those who know how to run it. You know, as Hitler said, and I'm just paraphrasing, he was asked early in his regime, aren't you a socialist? And Hitler said, of course, National Socialist Party. Yeah, we're socialists. And he said, well, why aren't you doing what Lenin did in Russia and take over all the businesses? And Hitler's answer, and I'm paraphrasing, was, I want to keep the people who know how to run the business, running the business, as long as they do it, I tell them. And that's how the government is, as long as they do what we tell them. So now we have a centralized, just look at this stuff that Biden is proposing. I mean, this whole thing with the Green New Deal is a deal to concentrate economic power in the center. And corporatist, because you don't nationalize, it's corporate. And so what else? What has to be destroyed? You have to fool the people. Therefore, you got to destroy the First Amendment. So go right back, and we see what's happening. The big corporations, the big monopoly corporations, big tech, they're completely cooperative and completely on board about destroying the free speech. So the First Amendment is under serious attack. And the Democrats fear that the courts might protect some elements of free speech. Because don't forget, First Amendment applies to government action, not private action. And they're really afraid of that. They're also afraid that the Republicans might get in charge and might finally do something that shows they're not cowards and actually do something about what's going on. Rather than talking about it, do something about it. And so the First Amendment has to go, and the Second Amendment has to go. I mean, we can't let people who are actually law-abiding have guns, and we have these terrible incidences where people, mass murders, some of them, if the law in the books had been enforced, wouldn't have occurred, like the Parkland murders in Florida. But I think I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. When I get a lot of requests from the Brady PAC about gun control, and although the show is over, I will tell you that I wrote to the Brady PAC and say, your proposals are quite interesting. What's your proposal to take guns away from criminals? And I've gotten no response. Thank you for listening.
If you live to serve and want to make an even bigger difference, consider joining the U.S. Army. With training in fields like medical care, linguistics, and engineering, an Army career can amplify your efforts with humanitarian opportunities all over the world. Plus, you'll receive competitive pay and incredible benefits, so you'll be taken care of, too. Learn more at GoArmy.com.
My name is Kyle Hayes, a motorsports student at Alfred State College. Every year, Alfred State students compete in the Great Race, which is a cross-country time endurance rally for vintage vehicles. As you can imagine, it's pretty costly. I'm asking for your help. Your donation can make it possible for these students to live their passion and promote the vintage automobile industry. Please visit our site at give.alfredstate.edu and search Great Race to learn more and help us reach our goal. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mike Karuchak. Have you ever wondered what doctors talk about amongst themselves? If you do, join us on the Doctor's Lounge and hear the doctors' conversations amongst themselves. Join me and my co-host, Dr. Hal Schertz, every Thursday morning, 8 to 9 a.m.
Hello, my name is Rick White, and I'm the director of the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. I want to encourage all Georgia veterans to consider being nominated to the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. And if you are a Georgia veteran, then the definition of a Georgia veteran is either you were born in the state of Georgia, or you've lived here 10 years, or you were raised your right hand, joined the military in this state. You are considered a Georgia veteran. For further information, go to www.gmvhof.org, or you can contact me at 678-427-0915. We'd love to have your nomination for the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. Thank you so much.
Hey folks, this is Victor with the On Point with Victor show. Make sure you listen every Tuesday 1 to 2.
I ask for your support, so please go to our website, warriorstocitizen.org, and find out how you can help, either by making a donation or sharing this information with an American hero that you may know. D'Agostino with Do Facts Matter. Interesting two phone calls I got today. One was from a good friend of mine who was scheduled to be a guest, and he backed out. And I said, why are you backing out? You have a lot of interesting things to say. You have a lot of knowledge about certain things. And he said, well, I'm in an area, in a field where I have a lot of clients. And some of these clients are quite wealthy, and they're, politically correct. And coming on your show could endanger my relationship with some of these clients. I said, well, how about anonymously? He said, no, I'll think about it. So we'll see. He might appear in a few weeks. He might not. And the second one I got actually was an email from a good friend of mine. and it was the greatest baseball play ever. I said, well, that's interesting. And of course, what showed up on the internet was Rick Monday in April of 1976, when Rick Monday ran on the field when these two young folks were attempting to set the American flag on fire in the middle of the baseball field, and he ran out and grabbed the flag before it could be set on fire. And I was kind of wondering about that. Obviously, young folks are ones who do. I mean, young folks are suckers. They always are. I mean, any utopian scheme, any nonsense, you always rely on the young. This is Professor Robert D'Agostino with Do Facts Matter.
You're listening to America's Web Radio. And now time for the Classic Car Show with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber.
Welcome to America's Web Radio and the Classic Car Show. And we've got the whole crew here. We could take a car apart. In fact, we could change the tires on it in, less than 5 seconds if we were at Road Atlanta or something like that?
Or in the Bronx, one of the two.
Yeah. In the Bronx, yeah. Well, one thing about it, you wouldn't get in any trouble.
No.
Yeah, but they only take them off.
Yeah.
There's no installation included in the price.
But anyway, we're here on the Classic Car Show, and our guest has not shown up yet, so we're going to take it from there and continue our talk on tours.
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. We've had a busy past few weeks. We took the Jaguar to Charlotte, and they had 240 cars, which is pretty good.
That's very good.
Yeah, and there were some really interesting cars that were there. There was a Thomas Flyer that was there, just first time out, first junior car. A few other old brass era cars, which is kind of unusual. But the meets have changed, and it's kind of interesting. If any of you have ever been to an AACA national meet, they don't open the doors or the hood anymore. You have to have it open, or tell the team captain that they have permission to, and they don't open they want the windows down so they can look in the car. They don't get in the car.
Wow.
Because of the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
The protocols have all changed. So it was kind of interesting. But anyway, the Jaguar got a first junior, which I was very pleased. That was kind of cool. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I was kind of surprised.
Mr. Gilson did the detail on that?
He came over and showed me. I've been using this ceramic coating.
In the gray bottle, the McGuire's?
I don't know who makes it, but it seems to be a fairly easy process.
Yep.
It doesn't involve a lot of work. So if you're looking for stuff to get your car ready, I spent a lot of time cleaning that thing underneath with my little pressure, and it is a little pressure washer, and under the hood, detailed the whole interior. I had quite a few hours in this thing, but the car looked very, very nice.
Good.
Yeah, it did. It looked nice.
On its worst day, it looks fantastic.
Well, it's dirty now because coming back, it just poured, and I haven't washed it. But I hadn't been out for a while, so I drove it this morning. But it was kind of an interesting thing. There was no banquet. They had the trophy presentation on at 3 o'clock on the show field
on Saturday.
Yeah, so there was no dinner. There was no judge's breakfast.
Well, what state?
Charlotte. This is national. This is AAC national. This is their rules now.
Okay, so it was in Pennsylvania? Or?
No, Charlotte.
North Carolina.
Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah, and the racetrack wouldn't let them. They wouldn't let them use the racetrack.
I thought North Carolina was an open state now.
No. Well, this is 3 weeks ago.
Well, but it's AACA rules.
These are AAC national rules because they all have to comply to the same rules all the time. And so when your judges show up at 9 o'clock, you have get together with your team. You meet your team, and well, national awards is different, but
Yeah. What class was your Jag in?
25D.
D. Okay.
25D.
How many cars were in it?
8, I think.
Mostly British.
Yeah, there was a couple other, a BMW, and some other things I don't remember, but it was just a different way. It's not a bad way to do it. Nothing has changed scoring wise. It's what they do on the show field, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
To me, because it's the first meet I've been to since over a year, well over a year.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Florida last year, which was the only activity last year.
Right.
Except for Gettysburg, and I didn't see the need to go all the way to Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
But I had a nice long discussion with Steve. We had breakfast together at the Embassy Suites and talked about a lot of stuff.
We should get Steve Moskowitz on.
Yeah, we need to get. There's a lot of changes going on in as far as AACA, and generally what AACA does, the rest of the hobby sort of follows along to some degree anyway. So
you didn't upset Steve or anything, did you?
I tried.
I know. That's why I asked.
I did try. But we were talking about the building and one of the things that we're seeing, and I'm going to talk about the tour, is of course the decrease in membership in all of these things.
You mean in attendance?
In membership in the organization.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's the same that happened down at the VMCCA tour, and Ray Maxfield was talking directly about the number they've lost. They've lost quite a few people.
Maxfield?
Huh?
Ray Maxfield.
Maxfield, yeah, Ray Maxfield. Yeah.
Boy, you've hung out with two presidents.
Yeah, well, I was going to see Joe, but I couldn't find a mask. Yeah, I couldn't find a mask. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyhow, so there's a lot of changes, and they're hoping to have Hershey this year. They're hoping. It all depends. It's the same what happened in Charlotte, why the Charlotte Motor Speedway couldn't have their stuff, because it's a public business. So in North Carolina, there are all these rules that they can't have this and have that. Well, Hershey Park is open.
Oh, the amusement park.
The amusement park is open, and the reason that they can be open is that it has no public funding. The same now, if you're interested in stuff, Carlisle, the other big flea market in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, all of theirs, like they have Chryslers at Carlisle, they have trucks at Carlisle, they have sports cars, they have all of these different flea markets, and they can be open because they get no government involvement at all in their business, so they can do what they want. And Charlotte, being Motor Speedway, even though it's a private concern, I don't know. He was trying to explain it has something to do with the number of people and all of this kind of stuff. So they couldn't have it at Charlotte. They had it at the convention center on the grounds of the Embassy Suites, just 3/4 of a mile from the racetrack.
Okay.
So it was a totally different way to do the same thing, actually.
Let me ask you something, Steve. Just like you said, it was a totally different way to do things. So, what was the reaction of the folks that were there?
Everybody, I heard nothing bad. I didn't hear anything. I mean, they have to play by rules too. So it is what it is at this point, and obviously things are going to change.
Yeah, but don't you think that since we've all been welled up for so long, that anything is better than what
nothing.
we've gone through?
Yeah, and something is better than nothing at this point.
Yeah, and it sounds like with the judging, they're still protective, and they've just changed their process a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. You know, they don't want to get in the car in case. I don't know how long the germs live on your steering wheel.
Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. We'll ask the Fouch. He knows.
Yeah. Okay. So you had 240 cars there, and what do you figure? You had 500 people.
Well,
At least?
yeah. Well, and there was a lot of spectators too because
really?
it's a big place.
Yeah.
I mean, so it was advertised. I mean, the Hornets Nest region put it in the Charlotte paper, so there was a lot of people walking around too.
Yeah.
So outside, was everyone wearing a mask?
The judging teams, yes, it was required of them. But the public, no.
How about rubber gloves?
No.
No
No
gloves.
proctologist
Well,
there.
no.
I know.
I mean, I know, but
I know.
it's the company I do work for. I have to wear a mask and nitrile gloves.
Well, I'm sure. I'm sure there were a couple who felt they wanted to. So I didn't see any. See, in national awards, I don't really do judging team stuff. I'm out by myself. But because I had the Jag in Class 25, and I normally do Class 24 and 25 race cars and sports cars, I got assigned a different class, which was 36 or 38 muscle cars. And I'll tell you what, I had these muscle cars that these guys do are absolutely amazing. I walked around looking. They're out of the 10 cars I had in those classes, the muscle car class. You know, all but 2 were almost perfect cars. These guys are so immaculate, and the nice thing is they're newer, so everything is available, and you know it's a cult. And these guys do just an absolutely phenomenal job. I mean, I was just, you got to be kidding me with these things. They've even gone to the point to study as it's going down the assembly line where the inspector would have stood and put the stamp, the general location of his stamp on there. And they have they some of them have found out who was working the assembly line that day. All these records are available to these guys. So the guy has his name stamp or initials and does it. I mean,
where do they put it?
Wherever the guy, whatever they were looking
on the
at. On the frame, on the fenders.
The build sheets on the top of the gas tank on most of these cars.
So it was just phenomenal. I was walking around looking at. There was a Buick GS something or other.
400.
I don't know what it is, but anyway, it was their top line high performance. It was one of the fastest muscle cars, if not the fastest. It's as fast, if not faster, than a Hemi. This is 455, and it was just, it was just absolutely amazing. I was looking at you got to be kidding me.
Well, then the Buick had the Skylark too, right?
Well, that was a little car.
Yeah. These were, I don't know.
This was the intermediate.
It was the Oldsmobile.
Yeah.
It was like a 442 or Chevelle size car.
Yeah.
And was there a little GTO there?
Yeah, I had one GTO in this class. But what was cool was in the other class, I have a friend who lives in near Asheville, and the high school there got donated a Javelin. And the high school class is restoring this Javelin, so they brought it up for everybody to see and had stuff about what the high school class was doing.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, and they're doing an exceptionally nice job. One of the old Javelins, the first AMC ones, with the, what was it, 401 or something?
There was a 304.
I don't know. This is a pretty good size V8 in it.
Yeah, there were 2 or 3 engines in that car.
But so that was kind of neat to see.
Wow.
And if anybody's interested, they're looking for donations to school. And if anybody's interested, call the station or email the station. And if you're interested and like to donate, we send them money to help the kids complete this project.
Good.
Because they're getting no funding from the school system.
Okay.
On that note, we're going to take our first break, and we'll be right back with Steve and Jim right after this.
Hi, this is Steve Ronaldo, host of the Classic Car Show on America's Web Radio. Just talking to you about antique car insurance. I think that if you're looking for the best coverage for your classic car, consider J.C. Taylor Insurance. They've been my insurer for years in this hobby and have the top rating of all of the insurance companies in the hobby. When you get ready for insurance, call J.C. Taylor or visit jctaylor.com on the internet.
My name is Kyle Hayes, a motorsports student at Alfred State College. Every year, Alfred State students compete in the Great Race, which is a cross-country time endurance rally for vintage vehicles. As you can imagine, it's pretty costly. I'm asking for your help. Your donation can make it possible for these students to live their passion and promote the vintage automobile industry. Please visit our site at give.alfredstate.edu and search Great Race to learn more and help us reach our goal. Thank you.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And we're back on the Classic Car Show with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber. Nothing like I washed my tongue this morning and I can't do a thing with
that's
it.
okay. That's okay. I've
But
been
anyway,
called worse.
Mr. Ronaldo and Mr. Weber, and they're streaming on YouTube, and they'll soon be streaming on something else, but we got their mug shots up there and ready to go. And it's going to be a great, great weekend.
Hey, it's Mother's Day weekend, too.
And it is.
I've been called a mother by a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I'm not wishing you a happy Mother's Day.
Were those driving down the road, or were those just...
But it was an interesting national meet. It really was. And
Well, it sounds like fun.
yeah, it was different, but it was the same, just a little different.
Yeah.
You know, the procedures are a little different, but it was kind of cool, and I'm glad to see them back again. And then
Were you able to recognize friends with their masks on?
most of the owners did not have a mask on. I would say the bulk of the public who came and the car owners did not. But AAC required the judging team to do that.
That's probably a good idea because they have more exposure, I would think.
Yeah, now when is Amelia Island?
22nd and 23rd of May. A couple weeks.
Okay. Yeah, I remember Bill was talking about trying to talk about the exhibitors having masks.
Yeah.
Because of the number of people that will be coming. I'm just curious if that ever happened. We'll find out.
Yeah, well, we'll talk to him afterwards. I'm sure he's buried right now.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to put stuff together.
Yeah.
And
I know I can't go this year, so I can't go. Then we had just a week be a week and a half ago. We were on the Chrome Glidden, VMCCA Chrome Glidden. We drove Brenda's Thunderbird up to the Great Smoky Mountains. We stayed at a Hilton in Alcoa, Tennessee.
Yes.
Right by the airport.
Yes.
And there were 102 cars. And so about 240 people involved in this tour. It was a week long. Got to finally meet Ray. Nice man. And we did some really interesting things. The Great Smoky Mountains Park is a beautiful place.
Isn't it? Yes.
Yeah. But they took us on one road for all of you motorcycle guys, and you're all talking about the Tail of the Dragon up in North Carolina. Go up and do the Devil's Triangle. It made that Tail of the Dragon look like an interstate.
A real pucker factor.
Whoa, you got to be kidding me! Up and down this mountain, and we had the bird. And a lot of people don't know what to do. We were following 3 cars down the mountain, and it switchback. I'll tell you how bad the switchbacks were. Jeff Stum, who puts on the Great Race for Coker, brought a '58 Mercury hardtop station wagon.
Yes.
They're very rare.
Yeah, Turnpike Cruiser.
No, it was a hard. They had another name for it, but there's no center post.
Yeah.
So it was really rare, and I told him, this is huge, this car. I said, this morning when I went out to get the car and bring stuff out, I said, there were some B-52s doing touch and goes on the roof.
They had those taillights that were,
slanted.
Huge.
Yeah.
Slanted like this.
Yeah.
But he couldn't, on some of these switchbacks, he couldn't get that car around. So he had to stop, back up, and swing again to get through some of these switchbacks.
Wow.
On that Devil's Triangle. I mean, it is just, amazing. And then you get up, and then all of a sudden you see a...
I was just thinking, my GPS, they'll say, at the next intersection, take a slight right turn.
Yeah.
And on what you're talking about, take a sharp right turn.
Yeah. Oh, it was something. I mean, it really was something. And you're going up, and all of a sudden, I think I saw 3 trailers. This is where they got the Unabomber. Somewhere up in this area is where they got the Unabomber in the Great Smoky Mountains. I don't see how you could find anybody up there.
What when he was telling that story, what was the first thing that came to your mind? I know in my mind, pulling a trailer, and you were talking about, was Desi and Lucy.
Oh, Lucy, yeah.
The long trailer.
I remember that movie.
They premiered that in Jamestown, right?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, because Lucy
was from there.
Yeah.
But anyway, you'd see a couple of these big... Brendan and I goes, how did they get this damn thing up here? How did they get it? I don't know how they got it. I don't know how they got it.
These were vacationers.
No, one guy had about 75 rebel flags out on his, if you will, lawn with the three obligatory Camaros and Mustangs up on cement blocks, and
yeah, but the guys pulling the trailers were the old.
No,
geezers.
they couldn't go. You couldn't get a trailer up there. You just couldn't do it. It would be impossible.
But they were vacationers, not.
These were these people living. No, these were people living there.
Oh,
but
okay.
Living on this horrible road. I mean, it was really wild. Really
Was
unusual.
there a roadside stand selling shine?
No. Now in North Carolina, it's legal.
Oh, is it?
It's all over the place.
It spoils the fun.
It's all over the place. We went to, what was the name of the prison? It's where James Earl Ray went.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But that was quite a place. They called this prison the end of the road because you ain't leaving. I mean, it was really, whoa, what a place. And that was a stop, and we had lunch at the prison cafeteria.
You're kidding.
No, they had a catered lunch there,
and they let you out.
Yeah. I mean, it was.
Brenda did a lot of talking.
It was really cool. That's why I like the tours. Brushy Mountain Penitentiary.
Okay.
I would never make the effort to go there. I just wouldn't. And once you get there, say, but this is really cool. They had a whipping post. They still were whipping people.
Isn't what, North Carolina or South Carolina? They're going to do death by firing squad.
Yeah. You get a choice. You because they can't get the drugs
for the injection.
So this week the legislature just put in.
Point of that story is, don't get convicted.
If you can't do the time don't do the crime, brother. But that was cool. And then we had one really bad day. We went to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg.
Oh,
I mean, that's in any block you can do 3 things.
Did Dolly come out and say hello?
No. But they asked me if I would fill in for her, but I said I have to go buy some watermelons. So anyway, on any block up there, you can play around in mini golf, buy a T-shirt, and get a tattoo.
Oh wow! All 3, huh?
The same block.
Jim, you ask. I just can't bring it to myself to ask. Where'd you get your tattoo done?
Oh, right here.
Don't show it. I'm too young.
But
he got his tattoo done in Pigeon Forge.
Of course, that was the shopping day for women because there's like 3,000 outlet malls in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. So it was very, very thrilling.
Let me ask a question. Have you ever heard of a tour that just guys went on? Has there ever been a men-only tour?
No, I don't think so.
Or an old geezer tour? They ought to think about that.
Yeah, well,
look at all the money it'd save.
That might be, if you do a divisional tour in AACA, you can do any way you want. Like the one that I'm involved with in Mount Airy in October is they stopped at cars 1971 is the latest. Why? Because this is all about Andy Griffith and Mayberry.
Yes.
All about, and that was the year of the last show of Andy Griffith. So they stopped it at the year of the last show.
Okay. With that, we're going to take our next break and let people think about it. Golly.
Yeah,
hello, my name is Rick White, and I'm the director of the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. I want to encourage all Georgia veterans to consider being nominated to the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. And if you are a Georgia veteran, and the definition of a Georgia veteran is either you were born in the state of Georgia, or you've lived here 10 years, or you were raised to right hand, joined the military in this state, you are considered a Georgia veteran. For further information, go to www.gmvhof.org, or you can contact me at 678-427-0915. We'd love to have your nomination for the Georgia Military Veterans Hall of Fame. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Steve Ronaldo, host of the Classic Car Show on America's Web Radio, talking to you about antique car insurance. In this hobby that I've been part of for years, not all insurance companies and insurance coverage is the same. I would suggest that you call J.C. Taylor or visit jctaylor.com to find out some information about some of the best antique car insurance you can get, such as agreed value insurance for your classic car. Again, when you get ready to insure your classic antique or even your street rod, call J.C. Taylor Insurance or visit jctaylor.com.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
Okay, we're coming back on America's Web Radio and the Classic Car Show talking about tours again, which is, Jim, let's go in together and buy something.
A Model A would be the car to have.
No, we'd have to pull it or get a trailer then. And
a lot of people drive. We have a friend in on the south side, Ray and his partner, his friend, and their wives. They drive. They have taken and circumvented the United States. They drove the borders right along the oceans. Canada border, down California. They did the whole thing. They've driven to Alaska. They've driven to Panama Canal Zone in their Model A's.
He's got an overdrive in his, doesn't he?
Yeah, like I do. Yeah. But anyway, sort of to let people know about things. On Thursday night, I was getting stuff ready to leave, load the car because.
So the tour went Monday to Thursday?
No, Friday. But we decided we were going to get back because we had so much stuff. We were way behind on stuff after the national meet and all of this. So we went to Sequoia's birthday place. Now, Sequoia, that was another. I never would make the effort. Sequoia was a Cherokee Indian who made the Cherokee alphabet. Made and did all of the words and all of this. And what was interesting is he's one of the 100 people that are most influential people, statues in the Capitol. He's one of 100. I never would have. See, again, that's one of the benefits. You go to this. Oh, this was pretty cool. This guy made the alphabet so they could write down their history and do this stuff. But
Cherokees were very.
They were so far ahead of the Americans that lived in those areas. But I asked them. I said, "Well, how can you write Kemosabe in Cherokee?" And they just laughed. They thought that was pretty funny. But anyway,
I give up.
So
does,
we were.
Does Brenda have a leash on him when she's on
So we were.
Taser.
So anyway. We were probably an hour and a half down the road towards Atlanta, knowing we were going to do that. So we just jumped on the interstate and went home from there. But Thursday night I was carrying stuff out, and a guy we know really well, Morris Campbell, had a 49 50 51 Ford truck pickup. Not a show car, but a regular, just like you would expect a used 51, I'll call it, truck to look like. Somebody had hit this thing, and you know how big those and heavy those bumpers are on those things, and bent the bumper till it was almost facing forward, and left. It dented the front fender on the driver's side, and bent this bumper out and left. Now, can you imagine whatever hit that, what their car looks like? I mean, you bend that gigantic, heavy bumper.
Unless it was a garbage truck.
Well, we were in the parking lot of the hotel. They had a parking lot reserved, so we think it was somebody with a trailer who did it. Try to cut a corner instead of going down the end of the row and going out like you're supposed to. But anyway. So they couldn't find it. The hotel camera, and this is at the airport. The airport camera didn't see anything happen. All they saw were cars moving, and they can't identify. Like at night when you see them on TV, you can't identify what they are. So they tried to find out who did it. Whatever, they couldn't. But he called his classic car insurance company. When he got home, Morris told me what happened, and they said, "Don't worry about it, just get it fixed." See, if you would have had a regular car insurance company, there'd have been, we need 27 estimates, and we need pictures, and we need affidavits, and we're only going to pay for this, and we're not doing that.
All right, let's back up a minute. If we think it was a trailer. Some of these guys have trailer insurance with the classic
but they can't. They don't know who it is. They have no idea who it is.
Well, he could call the insurance company and say, "Did somebody report a trailer being damaged?"
Well, after he talked to his antique car insurance, they just said, "I don't know who it was, but I'm sure it's it could very well be J.C. Taylor." They was just, "Oh no, go ahead, get it taken care of." There was no question, just. Get it taken care of.
Yeah.
That reminds me, you said one of our sponsors, J.C. Taylor, and if you've got a classic car or a muscle car or whatever the case might be, and you haven't checked with J.C. Taylor, be sure that you call them and get them to give you an estimate, and their service is second to none.
Yeah, but I mean, when Morris called me and told me what the guy said, that just, there's just no hassle. We'll just get it taken care of. There was no question, not even a problem, not even just get it taken. Send us the bill.
Wow.
Like you said, God, what happened to the trailer or whatever hit it?
Oh, I can imagine if it was a car. I can imagine the gash that's in the side of that car.
Oh, yeah.
But you would know that you hit somebody.
You'd have to, even in a trailer, because you hit that and bend that bumper, that big heavy thing is going to scoop that trailer over.
And this parking area was just for tour cars.
Well, yeah, it was, and also some of the hotel guests used it too.
Okay.
So you don't know who or what.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
But
anyway, any sports cars on the tour?
No. there wasn't. This is mostly 50s and 60s and some 40s cars.
Yeah, but that's fun.
Yeah, and the rule is has to have chrome bumpers and stuff.
Yeah.
So
$5,000 later.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things I really like that they do on their tours, to be honest, other than when they host the regular Glidden tours, I've not been.
Yeah.
This was my first time, and they have a after some activity they have a open forum where the officers get up and talk for very quickly, and then Ray got up and talked about stuff like where the financials are, and then he started talking about membership and what can we do about this stuff. And people had some good ideas. You ask your membership, what can we do about these things?
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it.
It
what would you say was the average age? 60, 70?
I would say most everybody. I would say 60s.
Okay.
The both. There were some younger ones and a couple older guys.
Okay.
A couple older people, but most of them I'd say were in their 60s.
Okay.
And so it was kind of interesting. They had some nice tour cars. It was amazing. There was probably 10, 15 people drove to the Alcoa, Tennessee from Texas. They drove their cars from Texas here to there. A lot of 50s Ford. It was a beautiful 55 or 6 Ford convertible. Really nice. There's a lot of nice cars there.
Good.
A lot of really nice stuff.
Well, I'm glad to see people getting out again.
Yeah,
and enjoying it.
The hobby is recovering.
Yeah.
Activities, but the big discussion is, like always, is the getting younger people involved and overall membership loss due to several reasons.
Yeah. Just a little point on chrome bumpers. When I was a kid and I started out.
You were a kid?
Yeah. I started out in the import store, but the main store was Buick Olds Cadillac. And the guys in the body shop would take one of these, I'm talking 57, 58, 59, these huge bumpers off. And there was a company that would come and pick them up and repair them and take the dents out of them and get them chromed.
Dipping.
Yeah. But, of course, now we all have bumper covers. But the point I was trying to make is that was a lucrative business back then because it was cheaper to take the dents out of the bumper and have it chromed than it was to buy a new bumper from General Motors or Ford. And you remember some of those bumpers were massive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let me ask. I went to one operation that did that, and as I recall, and you all know better than I, but you almost had to wear a gas mask.
Yeah, it's lethal. That's why most of the states have outlawed. You know what we ought to do is we ought to get one of the chrome shops.
I've tried.
On have you? Yeah.
Paul's or
the guy up in Alabama.
Yeah, Graves.
Yeah. Graves.
Paul's, Graves, or Nashville. The one in Nashville.
Yeah, and then
Advanced.
And the one in Tennessee or in Pennsylvania.
That's Paul's.
Paul's. Yeah. Okay.
They're big.
It was a dipping process.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's nickel and copper
and there's show chrome and regular chrome. If you do show chrome, there's three. It's a 3-stage thing. If you do regular chrome, it's 2-stage.
Is there
From what I understand, I may be wrong. But
is there an acid dip someplace in that process?
Oh yeah. And they have to get it off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not nuts.
And then they polish the metal like it's chrome before they start plating it.
Huh. isn't there
and there's a
an
nickel.
electrical charge? Or,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how they do it. Yeah, you charge the whatever you're going to put on positive, and you charge the other stuff negative, and it just jumps on and grabs on, and then it has
what
to
they're
dry.
doing like that? How did they get it so smooth?
Polish. They have huge wheels. You go to a chrome plating shop, they have wheels that are like 6 feet around. And some guy wears a hazmat suit and polishes. They have all these fixtures and they polish this stuff.
Wow.
But it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
And very lethal. That's why and it's exceedingly, I can imagine they say the car with the most chrome on it was a 58 Buick Limited. Because they had that big panel on the side, too, in the back that sort of went all the way back. And I can't imagine what the chrome plate. It'd probably be $20,000, $25,000 by the time you're done if you did everything on that car.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That's.
That okay.
Yeah, you know. And
I'm going to run out and buy one.
Well, can you imagine just a radiator shell on a, let's say, a Bentley or a Rolls, something like that in the 30s?
weren't they silver?
They were their silver and nickel, weren't they?
I don't know. I know there's some kind of silver that they used.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of my Healy that everything under the bonnet was chromed.
That's unusual.
Well, I mean, the guy had done it.
Oh, okay.
He did it, yeah. Well, back then, before all the laws and rules, chrome plating was not overly expensive. It's like, you know, it was the same as painters, and now painters have to have all of the
Downdraft booth. And
yeah, all of the equipment. It's not like it used to be.
Well, with that being said, a cheery note, I must add, we'll be back right after this.
My name is Kyle Hayes, a motorsports student at Alfred State College. Every year, Alfred State students compete in the Great Race, which is a cross-country time endurance rally for vintage vehicles. As you can imagine, it's pretty costly. I'm asking for your help. Your donation can make it possible for these students to live their passion and promote the vintage automobile industry. Please visit our site at give.alfredstate.edu and search Great Race to learn more and help us reach our goal. Thank you.
Hi, this is Steve Ronaldo, host of the Classic Car Show on America's Web Radio. Just talking to you about antique car insurance. I think that if you're looking for the best coverage for your classic car, consider J.C. Taylor Insurance. I've been my insurer for years in this hobby and have the top rating of all of the insurance companies in the hobby. When you get ready for insurance, call J.C. Taylor or visit jctaylor.com on the internet.
You're listening to America's Web Radio on the AmericasBroadcastNetwork.com. Thank you for listening.
And we're back on the Classic Car Show with Steve Ronaldo and Jim Weber. See, I can do it right.
Good. Thank you.
We can have Jim Ronaldo and Steve Weber.
Bill Johnson. Hey, Bill, how you doing? But no,
and our stealth guest today.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, well.
No big thing. But anyway, so it was the two events kicked off the season pretty well, I think.
Good. Now, what's your next one?
Well, there's a 3-day divisional tour in the Chesapeake Bay area, but it's so popular. What just kind of interesting too. What AACA regions did that are hosting these things? They had the people that signed up last year for these tours, and they gave them first choice for this year's tours when they're on. So most of the people that wanted to do last year when it was canceled re-signed up, so there's a giant waiting list to do some of these tours.
Yeah, because you were going to do one in Oklahoma last year.
Arizona.
Yeah,
that's why we bought the Jag
Yeah.
to go out there.
Is that on for this year?
Yeah. There are 3 Western tours, one VMCCA, and one at somewhere around Oklahoma, and then the one that we were going to do in Arizona is back on.
And then you're going to do the one in Saratoga in September.
Yes, we hope. And there's another couple, and then the one that I'm involved in, the divisional tour, the Andy Griffith Tour. which should be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And Hershey, they're hoping Hershey, but like Steve was saying that because they're a nonprofit and get government funding, so they don't know what the laws in Pennsylvania will be by that time. And somewhere I just saw there was an article, and so it was in the Cadillac magazine about Fred Simeone and his museum.
Is he open?
The new one.
Is he back
Yes.
open? Is
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so things are starting to get back to normal in the car hobby. Oh, the same weekend we were in Knoxville for the tour, Street Rod Nationals were there, and they had over 1,000 cars.
Wow.
At Knoxville. And one of the guys from here got his hot rod truck stolen right out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
They just smashed the window and drove it away.
Hey.
Recovered?
No, they don't know any. Not that I've heard yet. But it had a LS something engine in and all this other stuff.
It's probably on a boat to somewhere.
Well, either that or in an Alabama chop shop.
Yeah. Sand Mountain?
Hmm?
The Sand Mountain.
Yeah, I don't know that
That's
whole big area over there.
Yeah, that's the Sand Mountain.
I think that's gone now. That's where they used to steal. No, they're still doing it.
Hey, you go to Albertville?
Yeah, Albertville, yeah.
You see miles of used car dealers. Miles.
Yeah, made out of a Rector set.
Yeah, you get
a Rector set cars.
When you buy the car, you get two titles, one for the back and one for the front. And the engine serial number doesn't match either one.
Yeah, yeah.